Okay, great. Welcome back, everyone. Let's continue our journey through the decision neuroscience. As usual, we have the decision warm-up part. But before that, so here this is a reminder that next week we will have a guest lecture about the topic of open science. And a few days ago, I sent around a Google form link so that you could fill in about your prior knowledge of open science, so that our guest lecturer will be able to better organize and adapt the lecture to our needs. So what I'm trying to say is, if you have not yet finished that Google form, so that kind of short survey, please do that. I really appreciate. And I will send around a link after today's lecture. And you don't have to find out the link from a few days ago, so don't worry about that. And so far, I think we received nearly 20 feedback responses from you, and there are more than 20 missing. But we do not expect everyone finish it. That's okay. So at least maybe 25, 30, that would be great. Okay. So if you haven't done that, I really appreciate if you could spend 5 minutes maximum. I think that would be enough to complete that survey. Great. So we have talked about social decision making. So we have talked about 4 main topics. So recall the 4 main topics: value-based decision-making, risky choice, and intertemporal decision-making. Third one is emotion and motivation in decision-making. And all of this value-based decision-making, risky decision-making, motivation, emotion, we were talking about doing or making decisions in isolation, meaning that you are making a decision for yourself. And the last week, we talked about social decision-making, meaning we make decisions in a social context. It can be that you still make your choice for your own, but now the context is changing. So you are making a decision for your own. However, this decision might change some dynamic between you and the others. And in another scenario, you make choices not for your own, but for the others. So for the others. Maybe you would like to have some pro-social choice. You would like to benefit the others, but maybe ultimately you would also want to make it mutual beneficial, right? So that everyone, so both parties, you and the others, will benefit from that. Okay, that's the 4 main topics. Today, we switch gear a little bit. We will focus on a little bit applied field. That is, wait a minute. Okay, that's the warm-up part. Today, this a little bit applied field is consumer neuroscience. Sometimes if you see from the literature, people also call that neuromarketing. So I will keep my part short, so then we could have more time for these the presentations, because I guess the 3 studies, they are interesting, and I guess we will have a lot to talk about. So consumer science, or sometimes also known as neuromarketing, what is that? What do those people do if you meet people and if you ask them what do you do, and then they say, well, I work on consumer neuroscience, I work as a researcher in the neuromarketing industry. And you might have a rough idea what they do, but what they do exactly. So neuromarketing or consumer neuroscience, usually there are 2 big categories, so 2 aspects. So one is to, as usual, as more like a pure research or basic research, as we have seen so far, as a basic researcher. So those people, they measure the brain. So they measure how the consumers or the decision makers' brains, so how the brain responds in certain situations. In, for example, purchasing situation, in, for example, logo design situation, for instance. So those people, the researchers, they measure the customer's brain response, and then to use that information to help themselves, to help the researchers, the people in the industry, to help them understand and analyze and predict the behavior. So for example, if one person is searching Amazon, and at the same time the brain activity is measured, and we could let the person, the participants, do whatever he or she is like, free choice. So some free behavior and navigating the website, do whatever search they would like to. And then at the same time, simultaneously, the brain activity is responded. It is recorded by EEG, for example. And then the time information. So when they do this, when they do the search, how the brain responds, and when they do the purchase, how the brain responds. When they see one picture of one product, how the brain responds is. When they see another picture of another product, how the brain responds is. And when there are multiple choice alternatives, how the brain also responds is in that kind of domain, right? And using this information, it will be useful to predict, first to understand, and then to analyze, and then to predict how the purchase behavior would be related to the brain. And when the first aspect is understood, we could move to the second aspect, which is to make smarter decisions. For example, to apply this to create advertisements, create designs, or create packaging. So the packaging of chips, French fries, for example, crisps also, right? And one important thing is that, well, let me put it this way. So there are companies, and they would like to sell stuff, and they would like to make new designs. They would like to increase their profits. And maybe they have designers, and that's very good, but maybe they have not too much knowledge about psychology. They have not too much knowledge about decision making. And then assume that you are a person who is working in a neuromarketing company, another like service company or consulting company. So this food company, they may approach you to ask you what your advice is to improve the design of the package, to improve the design of the logo, to improve the design of some other things that is related to purchasing behavior. So their goal of the food company's perspective is always to gain more profit, but they would like to do it in a more scientific way. And then that's why they come to you, because you are an expert in the domain of neuromarketing. Good. Second example is to encourage healthier lifestyle. So for example, if there is a country, and then the government realizes that more than 70% of people, they smoke, which is not really ideal, right? And they would like to have some advertisements to help to encourage people quitting smoking. And what they do, they again approach you because you are a neuromarketing expert, and you might design some kind of advertisements to help people quit smoking. And then the second aspect is based on basic research from the first step. So the first step is always to first understand how the brain works. And the second step is to use those knowledge and then apply those knowledge in some interesting field, in food industry or politics sometimes. And as I guess, because you are smart enough, so the way I'm describing this, you could already realize or aware that this can be misused, right? So if there are some people, they could like use this information in an undesired way. This can be misconducted. So all those kind of research has to be done very carefully, and all those research, they also have to be carefully complied with the local ethical community. Has to be like that. Good. And let me just show you example. So the first one is a package, like advertisement, kind of advertisement design. So this is mayonnaise, and if you know the Dutch people, so this is a Dutch brand. If you have been to the Netherlands, you know that they really like to fry it, a lot of stuff, and then they eat it with mayonnaise. And anyway, this is the label or the new advertisement showing a reduced price of a mayonnaise in the supermarket. Okay, good. So here, there's the bottle, and then there's the new price. So you see here, the new price is €5, and the previous price was $6.29 or even $7.99. That was higher. Okay. So it turns out that this is not a perfect design to guide people so that they could realize there is a price reduction. So why is that? It is because people could use eye tracking technique to see where people look at, where they stare at, right? So there are two graphs. One is the design as before, the original one. The other one is the new one. So you see here this heat map. So the heat map, the lighter the color, the longer the participants or the people, they look at each place. So the two bottles we see here, there's not too much difference because if you show them this label, they always look at the bottle, right? And what is difference is here. This is the original one. The consumers, they look at the text, they look at the new price, but they maybe not even pay too much attention to the old price. So they might not be able to recognize the price reduction. And in another design, so the designer, maybe they went to you as a neuromarketing expert. Here you come up with another solution to say, hey, I would like to give more weight to the old price, even though that's useless, but I would like the consumers to realize there is a change and there is a relatively huge reduction from nearly €8 to €5. So here they change the location from here, even like corner place and small fonts, to here, larger font and upper place. So when the participants or customers are looking at this design, it's natural for them that they look at first here and then they move their eyes down to see this new €5. And naturally they will realize, okay, interesting, that it was nearly €8 and now it is 5, and I could maybe think this is a lot cheaper and I will just buy it. So this is the ideal case, right? The text is not really important for this advertisement because as for the people in the supermarket, they would like the consumers to buy it, whatever text that is. So here this is irrelevant, not too much interesting. Okay, good. To summarize a little bit, so a lot of package design or logo design or advertisements. So the researchers, they are trying to use attention to they guide attention. They will guide the attention of the customers. So if I would say, okay, this week, it is not about neuromarketing. It is not about consumer neuroscience. If I say instead, it is about attention in decision making, that maybe is not too much interesting, even though a lot of, I think more than 60% of researchers in the domain of neuromarketing, they are basically manipulating attention of consumers. Okay, good. So using the size of the font or the location in this case, change from one small corner to another top place, because we know that people, when they are reading, they read from left to right and also from top to the bottom. So those are the natural habits from evolution. Good. Another example, since now you know manipulating attention is one of the key strategy in the field of neuromarketing. So let me just show you two examples. Suppose put yourself into the shoes of a neuromarketing expert. I ask you how to do the design, how to revise the design, okay? So just follow me. So one is a shampoo here. There are basically three elements. One is a text here showing something like wake up, the red in your hair, and this is the package. Here, this is a portrait picture. In this case, this is a lady. So how you would like to change this advertisement? The layout. So any ideas? Feel free to type or to just open your mic. So keep in mind that this advertisement is not about the lady, of course, it is about the shampoo. So how you would like to guide or manipulate the attention of who is seeing this? How do you want to increase the time that people spend on this package, for example? Okay, one is saying pay more attention to the logo. Where is the logo? I'm sorry. Ah, Sunsilk, Sunsilk. Okay, there's a logo. I didn't even realize there's a logo. Good. Okay, good. Puts the package near to relatively closer. Move it closer to the face, right? Yeah, this is one strategy. Could be. So put the products in the right corner. Okay. And make the face part of the shampoo's bottle. Okay, wow. This is creative. Shampoo over the woman's right eye. Okay. Having flasher colors. It is eye-catching. Yes, that makes sense. Reduce the size of the lady and increase the size of the bottle. Yeah, that is a good idea. Great. So there's a new one, making the woman look at the bottle. Yes, brilliant. So great, everything is brilliant. Yeah, you're creative enough. I guess you are actually the expert already in the field of neuromarketing. So let me just show you one of the solutions proposed by those people, right? So what they did is, wait a minute. So what they did is actually a slight change. So only here, the orientation of the direction of the eye of the lady. So in this case, you see here the color. So the people, they look at more here and at the same time, following the direction of the lady. So from the eyes of the lady to the package of the shampoo. And even so, here at the top, the time that was spent was also increased because the text and the bottle, they are at the same side. When you are seeing here the direction, the attention is directed from the right to the left. And then because the order of reading is from the top to the bottom. So here there are some jump, I believe. So there is some jump between looking at here and also looking at here. And I do like the idea to make this size even larger, to make the size of the face or the lady even smaller. That's also possible. Very good. So brilliant. And let me show you another one. I guess you like this kind of exercise. So there's how it's called, the diaper products. There is a baby and there's some product here and also there's a text, right? Similar idea, same elements. There's a text, there is a real person, in this case a baby, and then there's a product. So here the text says, I don't know what it says, extra gentle for the most sensitive skin. Okay, makes sense. So how do we want to change the design? Give the baby the diaper, yeah. Yeah, have the baby engage with the product. That's a good idea, yes. Make the baby sit on top of the diapers. Awesome, yeah. Any other ideas? I think everyone is brilliant. Everything is brilliant, you said. Any more? So that's pretty much it, maybe. Make emotional connection, yes. That could also be interesting, yes. Great, so let's look at here. What they did is not too much change. The text is not changed. The product is not changed. So only the posture, let's say, and also where the baby is looking at. So the baby is not facing you right now, at this moment. The baby is facing here, right? And because we know that the attention will be directed from the baby, I guess, because usually most of the time, a real person is the most salient stimulus. So here, if I give you this, maybe the first thing you look at is the lady, and then if I give you this picture, the first thing you look at will be the baby. So as a real human, or even animal sometimes, if some other products, there is a dog, there is a cat, it's really it is really more likely that you will first look at the real thing, right? Either a human or animal. So here, if I give you this, I look at baby. Here I give you this, I look at baby, and then the attention is directed by the orientation of the baby, and then you look at from the face of the baby to the text. And as we know, the order of reading is from the top to the bottom, and we will see from here to here, the final product will be seen more often relative to the previous case. And if you would like to summarize that a little bit, so the first thing I summarized from the previous mayonnaise example is manipulating or directing attention is extremely important. And the second element is perhaps to make it more interactive. In particular, if there is a real person and a product. So in this case, looking at the bottle it could be considered as an interactive thing, right? Because I'm looking at you. If it is more interactive than if I'm looking at the screen and you are looking at the screen, there's no interaction. So here the same idea. So the baby is interacting with the text and also interacting with the diaper, with the product. And if I do like the idea one of you said, so if there is some more emotional connection, I guess that will be even stronger in terms of the design. Great, brilliant. So this is my introduction. I guess that's short enough. So before we move on to the presentations, I will just show you the different levels of neuromarketing or consumer neuroscience. So first is to understand behavior. There is not too much difference between an applied field and also a basic research. We always have to understand the behavior in the very first place. So understand the behavior, and then after you could understand it, you might be able to predict it. So if I show you this diagram, this advertisement, without showing you the heat map, you could even predict how much time each person will spend on each of the three elements. So if I give you this design, if I give you this design, you could already hypothesize how much time people could spend on by staring at it, in this case, measuring the eye movements. Okay, so understand and then to predict. And then there's a next step is to change. So the idea is if we are trying to encourage people quitting smoking, this is really a behavior changing thing, right? We would like to change their behavior by something we understood of the brain, how the brain works. And all those three levels, to understand the brain or the behavior, to predict the behavior, and to change, to nudge the behavior. So all of them can be done using neuroscientific tools. That is the focus of the seminar. Okay, good. Any questions? Is everything all right? Great.